Alright guys, so here we are yet again to talk about iZombie.
Are we?
Apparently.
iZombie, episode 8.
Of what season? I might have forgotten, seen the wrong one.
No, well, there's only one season, Stefan, so we don't need to specify the season. Like Super Mario, the first one was not Super Mario Brothers 1. They weren't cocky about it, they just called it
He was
Super
actually
Mario
like
Brothers.
Super Plumber Man 1.
Super American Plumber.
Yeah. Yeah, this show is going places.
You don't like where it's going?
No.
Because this time, alright, we took a little break. If you're somehow watching these all in a row, it won't seem that way, but we took a little break, went to Comic-Con actually, did some other stuff.
Yeah, so
We
we're
haven't
a week
recorded
after.
one of these, right? I'm a little rusty. I had the previous week's notes somewhere. I recall predicting some zombie smashing, as in like
Yes.
smashing. I vaguely recall predicting someone else would become a zombie or something would happen with hot sauce. No? So we had the rats, right?
The rats just broke out in the last episode.
We found out that the police commissioner commandant Suzuhara-chan was a zombie as well, but we weren't
Correct.
sure what that was all about, right? Mater's in a cell.
Yes,
with
he
bikers,
was with some bikers.
with the Sons of Anarchy themselves.
Yeah.
And now this episode begins.
Yeah. So where does this one begin?
And they had sex. They had zombie sex.
And foot rubs.
I knew that was a foot rub from the very beginning.
I pictured it was a dog or something, like licking her toes.
She wakes up and she's doing like the movie in bed with the blanket tucked under the armpits or whatever the fuck, and she's like, "Ooh, yeah, that's it. Ooh, right there. Ooh, ooh, ooh." And then it pans wide, and he's like rubbing her foot and all that stuff, and I'm like,
Well,
right,
no,
of course.
she's like, "What's the safety word?"
I forgot to say it for it. I forgot to say, "Oh," or something like that.
Yeah.
And you're like, "Oh, sexual innuendos."
And the light caught him in a weird way, and he looked like an old man for a second. Like, not like a strange
part of
old man that I didn't
zombitosis.
know, but he looked bad, and then, like, the light was different. and he was a
Not
little
like
better.
an old man I didn't know.
No, I don't
I
mean
know
like, he
this
looked like he
old
was an
man.
old man. Like, who was that? Old man
Right.
Jenkins? It looked like he was just like, I'm like, how old actually is he? Because if light can catch him that way, he might
I think
actually be 20 years older than I think.
Yeah, I think he probably caught a glimpse of the fact that this actor is 10 years older than her or whatever
Yeah.
the fuck. So. But hey, he's also in the music biz and
Yeah.
didn't have his shirt on.
Of course.
And, is zombie sex just normal sex? Is that what we're supposed to believe?
Yeah, maybe it's stronger, more animalistic. They don't show it, so it's
They don't really show it much,
hard to say.
so that's fine.
It just felt like such a forced episode from the moment she's in traffic, like listening to this show, to like looking over and seeing the ad on the bus of this show. Like,
So we should get into that. The case this week, the situation revolves around a radio show, and I don't know if I have to if your show's gonna have an episode like this, you don't have to establish the radio show several episodes in advance or something like that.
no.
But they just have her listening to the show, but like you said, all of a sudden, and then it all
It just felt so I was like, all right, well that's going to be the thing today.
Yeah,
and then it was.
and then she was listening to it also on the web streaming, fake web streaming in The Office or whatever the fuck, right? So the way you'd want to do this is to have another character reveal that they already like it.
Yeah.
Have the cab driver say, "Oh, you like this shit? No, she's great. She does all," and then you could just establish her, and she'd be like, "Ew, no, what are you talking about?" And then you'd be like, "What? Is there a thing?" And then they would go,
Yes.
and you would do it like that.
And it would be free and easy, and you wouldn't need any bullshit. It just came on way too strong. It seems like just Bush League rookie bullshit for a show that's on a network channel, and it's in its 8th episode.
Well, because we, as amateur punch-up artist writers, we like to do this for episodes like this to kind of explain. This is how you would try to approach this sort of thing, and that might be too cliche, but this was weird. This didn't work the way it was here.
No.
Whatever. So I wrote down in my notes radio show all of a sudden. That was literally my note.
This could have been a thing that you put Ravi could have been into this. He seems the kind of guy that would have been oh, I'm just trying to brush up on my tips, learn about the girls, like something like that. And you
Yeah.
could have never left this the comfort of the fucking mortuary or whatever it is.
You wouldn't have to
you have an
wouldn't-
expensive car scene with a bus
or the handful of characters that do everything all the time ever on the show. You would have had to have strayed beyond those or whatever. But Ravi, speaking of which, is waiting for Major at, I guess, the police station.
Yes.
He's asking for, hello, any news about my friend? And she's like, no.
Yeah, in a humorous and rude way, she says no.
It's actually a kind of good line where she's like, oh, I do, but I'm just holding back because I'm enjoying these conversations we have every 15 minutes. Sit down, or something like that. And you're like, okay, that was not the worst writing in the world. Major shows up, though. So Peyton comes in. Peyton, who you may have forgotten about because she's only in every other episode, is Liv's roommate, and she is...
apparently a world-famous, like, whatever, dating people that play professional soccer and football and district attorneys and judges or whatever the hell her thing is.
So she's a district attorney, or maybe she's just a prosecutor now.
She's the head of the prosecutors.
With aspirations to become the district attorney, I think. And yes, is a playgirl, what do I call them?
Yeah.
Hose?
A hoe?
She comes in to like get Major out, it would seem, obviously.
Yeah,
right?
she flashes her credentials and they snap to it. It's never said if those were actually issues or if she just said those things and it worked really well.
She said, like, look at this. Yeah, like...
Because she flashed it away real quick. It was like how, like, Doctor Who would flash his credentials, like...
Right. We're authorized, ma'am. What? And you're already in there and you're just doing whatever. Yeah. Right. So, she says there was no timestamp and it was a violation of habeas corpus erratum or something.
Yeah.
Which is real, I guess, in a way. I don't know. But so he gets out and he's beat up. We were so calling that it was going to be like they cut back and he's like teaching them how to do certain types of knots or something crazy like that.
But no, it was exactly as you would have thought.
But he got beaten up off camera by these extras from the last episode.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he got beat up because the police didn't like him because he like went on record as saying that the police were ignoring the people that they were ignoring. And revealed the thing and blah, 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 blah. Blah, blah, blah. Do you want to keep talking about him?
No, he sucks.
Jump around. So now the radio show thing that we've set up so like delicately in the first 30 seconds, now in the second minute of the show, the host gets electrocuted like on the air. And that's our dead person for the episode.
Uh-huh. Woo!
I feel as though I should interject. I'll just say the whole rat thing now because...
Sure.
So when the episode, near the end of the last episode, the rats, one of the rats is now an albino rat, which means that he's a zombie rat. And if you weren't sure about that, there's like torn open rat cages and he's eating the other rats and the rats are scared and all that stuff. And in this episode, so it's been like so long. Ravi like wasn't there. He's been other places. Oh, I guess game night's off. Like all these different things have happened in like fucking between it. And then they go over and like there was a lock on the door, and that was what was supposed to like keep the rat janitors. Or like keep the rat in.
No, I took it as just keeping people away from the rat.
That's what it is, but the rat could have gotten out. It was like tearing through the cages.
Oh
right?
no, yes.
So
well,
like.
And in the same way that it tears through those cages, you'd think it could break through glass.
I know. I don't know. It struck me as super funny because in my head, they hadn't gotten to the rats yet. And like once they finally do, there's this big comical lock on the door. And I was like, was that supposed to keep the rat from escaping once it became a zombie? But the rat is a zombie now. They play with it a bit. They are going to use it for tests or something like that. Whatever.
I wonder if he had rat memories from other rats.
I thought about that, right?
And that's why he was all happy.
He has visions, rat visions.
Yeah.
Rat-based abilities. He learns how to speak French from the French rat that he eats. And the whole episode revolves around that.
He's solving rat mysteries.
He's running around with another rat. There's a cop. There's a rat cop with a Sherlock Holmes helmet, hat thing with the ears.
Yeah.
So back to the radio. The girl who died had a feud with another radio guy who was the first person that they questioned, who I loved. His name was Chuck something. He was the host of the Morning Hurl, and his fans were called Upchuckers.
Yeah.
And he had contests with blow-up sex dolls. It made me think of like Opie and Anthony and like Howard Stern.
It was who could do the most criminally lewd things to a sex doll with the face of his enemy on it.
With their picture on it or whatever.
Yeah.
But that kind of stupid blow-up sex doll, pranking, whatever thing, totally, like, this isn't how those shows really are, but it's the way those shows look to people who don't know about or like those shows from, like, the outside, which I thought was what we were supposed to get from this, so it actually, like, worked for me a lot. He's not a major factor in the episode, though. He was actually banging this Sasha radio host person.
Yeah.
Her name is Sasha. She banged a bunch of people. She liked people who didn't fucking...
say no.
So much... So much fuck out there. I should like people who are in relationships, they say, or something like that. Whatever. I have a break here because Blaine and Suzuki meet.
Yeah, so we for the first time see that they are actually tied, and he potentially turned our police captain into a zombie, and he is his hookup for Brains, which, I guess makes sense, but at the same time, you'd think he'd, as a man who rose to a police captain, could have the way of being like, no, I'll kill you, and, like, get what he wants and not have to be taken advantage of in such a way.
Yeah, it's weird. So Blaine is brain mailing this guy in a similar way, and I think you had proposed this most concisely. It was so many episodes ago, though. Now we finally have this, confirmation payoff, and I don't even care. Because yes, it raises all these questions of like, did he target the police person to do this on purpose? Was this the point? He said he says he's hiding bodies and doing whatever, right? So that makes sense, I guess. But yeah, how could you know that he would go along with it? He might expose you and like do the whole thing. He has a gun.
He could have just killed you off the bat.
Are you like super powered? I don't understand.
That's why like this show is taking such a jump to bad that I'm like, ugh.
Well, because like and they've kind of like whatever it, but like turning someone, okay, like with like the vampire thing in like old vampire stuff.
Sure.
You would turn someone into a vampire, but like vampires get stronger with age or whatever, right?
Yes.
So like you're like a new upstart vampire. Like compared to you, I can like teleport and like I have.
Well, also
like,
there's a thing where vampires sometimes just control the people they bite.
and they can't even. Yeah, there's like a thing where if you like try to like kill your maker, even you can't or whatever. So there's all these rules and all these things here. In this universe, if you turn someone into a zombie, it's just like, I'm gonna give you superpowers, but you need me for brains or something, so it'll be fine.
They could just murder people and take brains.
Yeah, he could have just stopped being the chief of police and gone off somewhere and lived his life as a rampaging zombie or whatever.
The brain-eating ragamuffin.
But they throw in the thing. So from the previous one episode ago, he sees Liv get shot with a bullet. So. He suspects her of something. I think there was some hot sauce involved. And he says, there's a girl, in the ME's office. I think she's playing for Team Z. Something like that. And then Blaine says, she has a special role in all of this. I know all about it. Or something like that.
Yeah.
What the hell could that possibly mean?
Nothing. It's just bad.
She has a special role in all this.
As if somehow he's been planning this for years and this is his grand,
He's going to take over the whole city.
He's going to
That's his
die
plan.
at the end of the season.
Do you think he was a zombie from before the boat situation? Or if that was the first night he became a zombie?
I think he became a zombie on that boat. But it's certainly possible that he was a zombie the whole time and someone did something that freaked him out. He scratched them and then bam, it's...
And he zombied out on there. Maybe
but
he's
it
a
struck
good
me
guy.
as more than one person zombied out on that boat.
There were a ton of zombies.
And that's not how it works.
That's not how it's been demonstrated to work at every other point.
So it had to be drug related. It had to be they all took the drug and they all turned.
Yeah, because they were drinking the Max Rager and they were on the Utopium.
Yes.
Utopium. And you could pick either of those and laugh and look off into the distance. Max Rager.
Zombie.
Because that seemed to turn the rat immediately. So that fits more with that or whatever. I don't know. I'm wondering if he arranged it or something happened or whatever. So Major was fired, though.
Yeah, Major was fired for getting arrested, and so he loses his job, and let's just jump to his next part of his arc.
Well, let's just fill that out, though, first, because he fucking, that part makes sense to me. He was arrested for breaking into a dude's car and accusing him of being a brain thief, and he works with kids all day. And I'm glad he got fired, because that would have actually been weird, and I probably wouldn't have even noticed on this show that he just keeps working at that job. But no, he was in jail for the night or whatever.
Yeah. I love that his kid, though, is what brought that in. His kid finds that, him on the police blotter. What kid is checking these things?
Orphans.
Have you ever looked at a police blotter in your life?
Orphans love to check the, the mug shots that come out.
I guess... It built his cred.
I took it that you interpreted that that's how his boss even found out he was ever in there.
That's
right?
what he said.
Oh, Well, he said like my boss didn't think it was as funny, but I thought that she already knew, and
No,
just it was a difference of opinion.
He shows that like, or she sees in the blotter, and he goes, "Yeah, one of my kids brought it in, showed it around. He thought it was cool.
They
My
thought it
boss
was
didn't
great.
think it was
My
his
boss,
blah
though,
blah.
didn't, whatever.
Lost my job, didn't get as much street cred with him." And I was like, "You idiot."
It was really funny because we've been making fun of this guy for being like a bad actor or whatever. But there was a scene here, I should have jotted down the line because then I could have like done it or whatever. But he has like the makeup from being beat up on his face. And he delivers a line and it was so flat or whatever and weird that I was just like, oh my God.
No, I hate him.
Like, I'm not going to stop until I find him or something weird like that. But he didn't even like, it wasn't hammy. It wasn't like wrong. It was just this like, it's like, I'm not going to stop until I find him. He tells Liv he saw the brain. He's been looking at brains for days.
Yeah.
Brains for days.
I know what you're thinking. That sounds crazy, but I've been looking at brains. Cow brains are the size of a fist. This was much bigger than that.
Yes.
So it could be 3 brains. What the fuck?
It was part of that speech. So he's going rogue. He's going out, wants to investigate all this stuff. He and this was a serious moment of like hiding something or bad actor, but I knew the answer was both because like Liv's like, I think you're just holding on to this because you want to keep hope, and that's why you don't you're not letting it go and like accepting it. And he's like, oh, you're right, thanks Liv, anyway, see ya, bye, and like escorts her out and then turns around and is like, brains, typing in about brains, searching for brains, image search brains, zoom in on brains, and he's looking at brains for this whole time.
And then what does he do?
You want like the final button?
Of course I want the final button. It's so stupid.
He buys a gun?
Yes.
Okay.
He goes to a fucking, he goes
to a trunk.
dude on the street who like flips a fucking grandma blanket and there's guns in the trunk of his car.
He needs a gun.
And he buys one because, god damn, this show is stupid.
Are you suggesting he should have bought a gun at like a reputable gun dealer?
I don't know what he wants the gun for,
he
but...
He has to fight against the brains. What if the brains come for him?
Oh, God.
He has to go shoot who he thinks is the Candy Man.
So he's been fired, which is potentially going to ruin his life forever for being arrested. And now he buys a fucking gun with like filed serial numbers so that he can shoot someone and potentially go to jail for life.
He's got nothing to lose.
He's got everything to lose. How's he even paying for that house?
His house is huge.
Robbie's paying for the whole thing now?
He was a social worker, dude. His house is huge.
Yeah.
They live in a nice area. Where's this, Seattle?
Seattle.
Is that even nice?
Seattle has a minimum wage of $15 an hour because it's so expensive.
Ooh. Oh. I was like, ooh. Oh. So that's the end of Major? We're good with Major?
Major. He's stupid.
Episode like 2. I think we're done. I think it's over. I'm so glad it's over.
Our only hope is that that gun just goes off in his belt and kills him.
Right? There's a ruptured thing, and that's pretty extreme, okay?
God, Lil Wayne himself to death.
What?
Lil Wayne once shot himself.
Oh no. When
he was like 14.
Oh. Thought it was recently. I'm disappointed Lil Wayne didn't shoot himself. He has some good tracks. So, even Peyton knows who Lowell is. I wrote that down.
Who is Lowell?
Lowell is the zombie that lives banging.
Yeah. Everyone knows Lowell.
But she says, I forget what she even says because I didn't write it down, but like, Peyton knew who he was. Like, he's famous in this world or something like that.
Apparently, he's a Red Bull rider or whatever.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So, we're going to get through this. We're going to get through this together. This whole time, so we didn't even mention, like, so Liv's power now is being an annoying bitch.
Yeah, she gained nothing other than, like, being inquisitive and a whore.
She got the, like, what is the word for it? Crass or something? The kind of advice like a radio relationship expert would give about, like, you gotta drop him, honey, or
and
something.
whatever on people.
Yeah, and like, well, let's just go see you have an emotionally unavailable father, like this whole thing like that, all that shit. Which she uses those powers to, like, annoy the people around.
Because they're not powers. Like, this episode is bad because she didn't gain anything. She didn't use it for anything. It didn't do anything for her. It didn't advance the plot. It was just like, well, how can we be stupid? We could do that, sure.
She saw one vision of a guy that they don't see until they're actually at the place. And let's just talk about that.
It was one vision like the whole show, right?
There were a few.
But they were all useless.
They were all useless, because usually the vision has like a person or they say something and you go, oh, or whatever. Like, the first vision, I think, was Sasha yelling at her like assistant.
Yeah, throwing cupcakes or whatever.
And that caused her to ask them about that. But I feel like they didn't need that vision for that.
No.
Because people probably would have asked everyone else who worked there, does she ever freak out? And the one vision was
the radio guy's wife throwing a drink in his face.
Yes.
Which also was like, all right, you would have investigated him anyway. Like,
it was like the first, because they had an ongoing feud with like getting fans to like do stuff. And then, of course, play it again, Sam. And his name was actually Sam, which I think is just an expression. His name doesn't have to be Sam, but whatever. All right, so Kaylee the Temp. So they've been listening to many hours of the radio show, trying to find the calls where Cheated On in Chattanooga calls in and gives all the good radio, because she was like, she was threatening, we should even say the stupid thing. She says, like, I know that bitch's license plate number, it's blah, blah, and then they cut her off because she's giving the radio host license plate number. So the caller, everyone's searching for this caller and details about this caller because they think that she,
is actually the murderer.
The radio host known for liking unavailable men, and then the Cheated On in Chattanooga, threatening her indirectly on the air. It's so hard. We'll get through it. It's so hard. So Kaylee the Temp, who they introduced with a weird, like, new setup shot. It was a weirdly jarring, like, now we're over here in the scene. So the minute they did that, I was like, that's the killer, or something like that. It ended up being a misdirection, but I don't think that was intentional. I feel like that was just like, we have to show this character. But it was really weird to me. They go to her house. They find out that she might be the person because on these 30 hours of footage, there's a commercial that has the same voice.
Yes.
And then they find out that Kaylee did a
voiceover with her natural voice. She's actually from Georgia.
That was totally unnecessary, too.
It was.
She could just do a fucking voice.
You also think once she said it was her real voice, she would have then talked that way the rest of that scene.
Only if it was her real voice.
But didn't. She talked for 4 seconds. This is my real voice. And then goes right back to talking like normal.
I don't think it was a real voice.
No shit.
Obviously not. Anyway, so they question her. She's like, well, no, I was just fucking with her. I didn't actually want to, like, kill her or something like that.
I didn't think someone would find a voiceover I did a year ago. A year ago, it just played last week. Didn't play last week. And they figure that the person that gave them the tapes put that in there so that they would find her and plant the blame on that one. And
that person is Jane, Sasha's assistant, who's always wanted to be in front of the mic, not the camera.
But not behind it.
But has not whatever. So now, and this was actually, I'm not going to say hilarious, but she was like on the air doing the memorial / like, okay guys, we're going to keep the show going, but I'll be the person.
Yeah, no one likes her.
Well, because she wasn't even doing anything. It was just this weird and horrible, like, with Enya music in the background, and like, let's be positive, everyone. It was very strange.
But it was a memorial for the dead person, so it's very weird to be, like, heckled at a memorial.
You're like, you suck!
All right, guys, we want to take a couple minutes to silently remember, whatever the fuck her name was. You're a whore! All right, everyone has their own opinions. You suck! I feel like a substitute teacher.
Yeah, but, like, as if, because they didn't even make it like she was trying to do the same show.
No.
It was a memorial, and they were reacting as if she was like, hi, I'm the new host of the show.
Yes.
And calling and saying, you fucking suck, or whatever.
I almost thought that after like the 10 seconds of her, like then when she sees the cops coming, she flips and she's kind of telling off who the old person was and whatever. Yeah. I almost thought they'd be like, they liked it now, and she's going to do that show from prison.
Because she's ballsy. No, she was just, not even that, they're both horrible, whatever. So, like, case is solved. It was her. She's, like, shouting her confession into the radio as they're hauling her off, or, like, looking for the door key or whatever, right?
Oh, so bad.
So we've gotten through another thing. The cop wasn't even really a factor in this. We've talked about some of the other characters that happened towards the end now. So Ravi asks Peyton out, and she says yes.
She says yes.
Which makes no sense.
With Liv saying, do it. He's a good guy.
Because I've realized the best advice is to just let people follow their hearts or something.
So Ravi is talking to her on the phone while handling the most deadly thing in his possession, wearing his chainmail gloves, and he gets bit.
Through the gloves, it seems?
Yeah, I'm going to say that it just pinched the metal on his finger, and he's not actually going to turn into a zombie.
Is he not actually a zombie?
I don't think so.
You know, I was thinking about this. So, if the rat bit him, you would think he's a zombie. Right? So, yes. In my head, I'm like, how's that going to work with him being a zombie now? It's really weird. Fuck.
Well, if he's a zombie, it's no different than Liv being a zombie. They're both going to have to eat brains. They'll share them. They could be comedic, like, oh, I had this flash. I had this flash. What does it all mean?
Is that gonna that can't
His
happen,
hair will
though.
turn white. He'll become a white Indian dude. It'll look bad. That's not going to happen. What happened is
That can't happen.
they bit the glove. The glove took the bite, but it still does crushing damage to his finger. It's the same reason that people that dive with sharks wear chainmail suits.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't stop your arm from being cut off. It just stops your arm from being taken away. Your arm is still severed, but it's in the suit.
Well, and you can take certain poking. It doesn't cut the same, right?
Yeah.
So chainmailing or whatever.
Well, they have because of how many rows of teeth shark have. I think like if they bite you, it's gonna do the damage.
Like the pressure of the bite
Yeah.
would damage it anyway. Yeah. So I'm hoping that's it, because it would be absolutely ridiculous for him to be a zombie. Because like the logistics of the show don't make sense anymore. I'll just solve these cases myself, or something. It's very weird.
We do like 10, 15 more zombies on the show because there's not enough.
I think in the end everyone will be a zombie.
It's just called Zombie at that point.
It's just called All Us Zombie.
World Zombie. Now, so the show is bad. It's getting worse.
There's one more thing.
What's your one more thing?
Well, she's at Lowell's apartment after they smash again.
Oh, yeah.
And she's eating some food that I guess was cooking there for them, like a brain that he had, I assume, something like that. And she's then leaving in the elevator and sees Blaine with a little to-go bag of brains.
Seemingly headed there.
Right, headed, we think, because that's like an apartment, I guess, right? So maybe not for Lowell, but probably for Lowell, because it triggers a vision of Jerome. Yep. And Blaine's there, like fucking cut it out, kid, or whatever. And he's in the back seat in a shot where you can see his shoes, and he says Jerome, just in case we didn't understand. Everything had to be exactly the same thing.
It just makes me sad that they treat their audience so badly. Like you're all the dumbest people in the world.
It's possibly
and
true.
If you're watching the show at episode 8, you might be some of the dumbest people in the world. It's just I'm not digging this show very much, but hopefully it'll get better.
This is episode 8. We'd have 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13.
Oh God, that sounds like a sentence.
To get through the season.
All right.
We're committed to doing
Yeah, we'll
it.
finish this up this season.
Okay. Well, there's only one season.
Yeah, ever, and then we'll never be any other season.
We keep saying things.
They can't.
But this means that Blaine probably sold Lowell Jerome's brain like a month after he died, somehow, right?
He could freeze him.
I guess.
Just like he pulls out henchmen.
I had a whole thing about how it's super dumb.
It is dumb.
Okay.
But we freeze food. You can freeze brains. Brains are food.
They're not as good when they come out of the freezer, though.
Nothing's as good ever.
Gotta nuke them.
All right. This show sucks. Until next week, don't die in a fire.